Hi, and welcome. This is Sven, your host, and today you get to enjoy a fantastic PodSwap with Z and Keith watched a movie. Be sure to listen to Keith's episode when he was on Champagne is Also a Band podcast, episode 130. You can go back and listen to his episode and then also listen to this one because I had a really great time. I love local, you know that. But this is a pod put on by Z and Keith. I got to talk about a formative movie from my childhood, one that I loved about the music, one that I loved about the sci-fi, and, well, what else can I say? It is something kind of special, and I was really happy to be able to sit down and talk with Z and Keith about a movie that I was terrified that they would possibly hate. Before we begin, be sure to listen for Z's catchphrase, you can't miss it. So check out the following episode where I got to be a guest on Z and Keith watched a movie, and I got to be able to talk about a formative movie called The Black Hole. As I like to say, without further ado, let's do a pod swap. This is Champagne is Also a Band podcast. One songwriter, one song. I'm Sven, your host for a journey into the music of Champaign-Urbana.
Recorded in the Bluebird.
Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z.
And I'm Keith.
And we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we had humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show.
All right. This is it.
This is it.
We-
This is it. Ooh. Nice. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
You already heard me say that. Hi and welcome.
Now while I sit
We have a special guest with us. Again, if you
Right.
heard the lobby,
You heard the lobby, then.
they've already been
Yes.
welcomed and you've already been exposed. But
If you haven't heard the lobby, then guess what?
like
Wait,
and subscribe.
did we not? I don't think we introduced Sven in the lobby. Did we?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was a phantom voice.
Anyway, Sven's here.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thanks for
having
just
me.
suggesting this film.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm going to find out very soon if you actually thank me for suggesting this film. So.
Well, yeah, I was lying just now, but now I'm going to say thank you for suggesting this. Totally different than I expected.
It was insane.
the
This
ending,
movie was
right?
oh my god, the ending. I was like, wow,
Right?
wow,
Yes.
I mean,
much darker than I thought it was going to be.
Yes.
Much darker than I expected. Not a bad thing.
No. Yeah, I mean, I'm like, well, do we disclose the ending already? But, you know.
Yeah.
Well, no, we can wait on that part, but
Well, we started to talk earlier, and then Keith threw a bitch fit.
I did.
It starts so confusingly because it starts with a black screen and music that sounds like it's
Yes.
leading up to something, and it just keeps going. And then
For like 2.5 minutes.
I thought, because we always get our film from reputable sources and totally legally streaming services.
Yep.
So I was
From
like,
legitimate vendors
yes.
on the street.
correct. And I was like, oh, this must be
Yeah, right.
a bad version. And I was like, oh,
No,
and then
it's the Black Hole Overture,
Yes.
which this is like one of the last theatrical releases to do that. Apparently, it's an old.
Oh.
It's a remnant of the studio system where they would play an overture of the soundtrack from the
Okay.
score.
Yeah, I mean,
ahead of the film while people were entering.
right, but okay, I was gonna say usually they do that during the credits.
Right. That's what
But
we're more
that's
used to.
right. Yeah. So, but I feel like this is that's a really smart thing because I was like, this, it feels like you're in a black hole. It's just a
Right.
black screen, and
Yeah, right.
so I was like, this is kind of effective.
And you may know more than me historically, as far as music history goes.
Sure.
Overtures I associate with opera.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It's like a sampling of.
Yeah. It's
Musical
kind of
themes.
It's everybody come and sit down, and here's kind of a preview of
Right,
the
okay.
music you're going to be hearing. Just kind of as a function of like keep people entertained
Yeah.
until the show begins, and it probably even gave them an opportunity back then to, if something was going wrong, maybe
Right.
they could
Yeah.
stall for time.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Replace a string or
Yeah, that's right.
hire a new percussionist.
Exactly.
This is something I did not know until extremely recently. Which I feel embarrassed about because I'm like, oh, so I found out that when they play the music, the theme music during the credits, that tells you, like, that's supposed to tell you it indicates like notes in the story. Like it's telling you all the things that are, it's not like telling you what the story is via music, but it previews all the music essentially that it's about to play in the movie. And I was like, oh.
That's what an overture is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I just thought it was the theme music. It didn't click that it was like,
Well, it's not
you know.
always. It's not that standardized anymore, but
no, not anymore.
yeah.
But I didn't know that until like probably
right.
the last year. And I was like, that makes so much sense. Why didn't that? I just thought it was.
I'm used to it. Sometimes it'll happen during closing credits.
That's
get sort
weird.
of like, it's not an overture. It's more of a sloppy, just sort of. Sometimes it's just.
Hey, y'all remember this?
It's an underture. That's what it is. Yeah. I mean, let's
Y'all
think
remember
about
when
it.
this happened?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I had mentioned kind of in the lobby about how I really appreciated the music, but the thing is that I didn't realize it's more of the darker themes in the music that I appreciated, and somehow it blocked out what I called the hero theme when it was like the whenever Bob the robot is like challenging something or trying to save, and they have that melody. It's kind of cheesy. I was like, oh God, make it stop.
Yeah,
and then,
it's too much.
The dark stuff, I just like, that's the stuff that I remember.
Yeah.
And kind of think about in terms of, what I value in terms of a soundtrack.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was kind of like, ooh, sorry I said that I really like the soundtrack, but then I was like,
Wow.
ugh. I don't know. It just,
Well, that main theme that has that hook that is such an earworm. I can't sing it, but
right.
Yeah, that one.
it repeats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
However it goes.
Yes.
I noticed too, well, only on sort of listening back to some of the score, that it seems like they add synth elements later on. Like it's sort of, especially after they go through the wormhole or the black hole.
Right. Yeah.
It's the same theme basically, but there's adding. It's not just strings anymore. It's got some dark synth things happening.
Yeah. I mean,
To add to the strangeness, I suppose.
the ending definitely has that like 2001 A Space Odyssey kind of feeling going down a tunnel. And I think maybe that was why they added the synth. I mean, it sounds cool, but it was kind of an odd choice, I thought. Not, it made sense, but it was, yeah, I'm not sure exactly how I want to say that, but it was, yeah, I don't know if they were trying to do it to like up the emotion or whatever, but yeah, it has that nice edge to it with the addition of the synths.
Yeah. It adds I assume it's to add a strangeness. You know, we're in the uncharted territory now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You may remember that I believe John Barry, who composed this score, did the music for Howard the Duck that nobody liked.
Oh.
They threw it out and then...
Oh, that's right. Oh, my God. Yeah.
But he's most famous for doing the Bond films from the 60s.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that makes so much sense. I can hear it.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen any 60s Bond film, so I can't say I have it in my
brain.
Well,
he composed the Bond theme.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Yeah. Well, after that 2 minutes and 30 seconds, all of a sudden, then this computerized vortex.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Visualization of a black hole, which people continue to use today to show the black hole. But Anyway, but
apparently
I
at
had
the
to fast
time
forward to make sure that it was okay.
Yeah.
That whole
same,
blackness was and then I was like, oh right.
Did you stream it?
I did. It's on. Of course, it's on Disney because that's what was the original production house or whatever.
Although they didn't. This is one of the first films they didn't, because they were trying to move towards more adult, or move away from just.
It was their first film with full frontal.
Yeah, and full.
And it was the robots.
Full F words.
Yeah.
No, they were intentionally like trying to move away from their image as just for kids.
Yeah.
Right.
But it was distributed by Buena Vista, so it was like everybody knew it was a Disney film because they were hyping it for a long time before it came out.
Yeah.
And then it led to, I guess, Touchstone Films. I didn't realize that was Disney, but like that's their like more adult, drama oriented distro label.
I didn't read any trivia for this.
That's fine.
It's probably
It's
good.
fine.
It's probably
There's a lot of trivia because it's a huge production.
That's why I was like, oh, I'm not gonna.
I would feel like somebody would be like, that's not how they do black holes. Come on, black holes don't show up like that.
The science is not great.
That's fair.
No, I get that.
do, but that's one of my favorite parts of it. The science makes no sense. They're like, we just blew off all of the aluminum siding from the ship, and they're just like, it's cold in here.
Right.
I'm like,
I can breathe just fine.
Yeah.
But
I'm getting sucked out into space, but that's
slowly.
the only thing that's really happening.
Well, I was just assuming that it was the oxygen from all of the rest of the ship that was coming through there, and then once that ran out, they would be in a lot of trouble. But that was
there's a lot of plants in there too, so maybe the
right.
Yeah, the offset.
The what's that process called? Photosynthesis.
Ooh,
Jinx.
Nice.
Now you have to get married.
I think that was the ceremony.
Jinx. What?
Jinx, buy me a cuck.
A cuck?
Yeah.
Okay. That
Them's the rules.
green grid animation.
Yeah.
At the time, the longest computer generated image or sequence in a film.
Oh, I fully
Wow.
believe it. I fully believe that.
Oh.
This is what I said to Keith when we were watching last night.
Guys, we watched the film last night.
Yeah.
You were saying something. You said that it felt like it came out a decade before it actually did, and I said this came out the same year Alien did.
Right.
And Keith was like, "What the fuck?"
Not only that, turns out also Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
Yeah.
Came out a few weeks after this, helping
Amazing.
draw audiences away from black holes.
They were battling those, computer generated.
Also, Meteor.
Yes.
Turns out, 1979.
What's Meteor?
Meteor is a horribly boring film. We talked about. I was telling Sven about it while you ran to the basement laundry room to get your packages
With all the dead cicadas.
Right.
Oh.
It's a very boring film that I watched that has Sean Connery in it. It's about a meteor going to hit the
Yeah.
Earth. It's during the Cold War, so
Hot.
Sean Connery is called out of retirement to help coordinate with the Soviets to figure out a way to...
This is not the point, but Sean Connery, I don't get it.
You don't get it?
Yeah.
Well, he's dead, so...
I know, joke's on him or me or something, but
Herm.
joke's on Shim. I'm just saying.
What else? 79 is a wild year.
Yeah, I believe it.
But a lot of it is because it's post episode 4. We're still in that space where everybody's scrambling to respond to Star Wars.
Yeah.
But although this is a space science fiction show, movie, sorry, I hated the way I said that, but yes, it still has a definite different feel. Like it doesn't...
Yeah.
There's a few things that, like, visually inside the ship, outside the ship, like, it did not fall into the whole aesthetic of what Star Wars did.
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
You know?
To its credit.
And actually, the thing that I thought of that you don't expect is that there was actually a flat screen in the ship, right?
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like
It looked
all
like
the
a
things had CRTs.
Yeah.
You know, there was an actual flat screen.
Right.
Oh,
And I was like,
when it
whoa.
the thing that falls on him, it's like it's a flat screen.
Oh,
and
that's
it
what
when
that
it
is.
like
Yes.
blinks out, I'm like, that actually looks like digital. Like it doesn't look like fuzz from a T. I was like so impressed by that because I was like, how would they? Yeah, it was very.
Maximilian, help me, help me.
Maximilian! Help me! Help me!
I think one of my favorite visual parts was like we kind of had both guessed that the robots were people or whatever, you know, because they were
Right.
But how they showed that when they have them on like the conveyor belt and then they shoot their mask with like the little light and it makes it transparent for just a moment so you see a face on the mask.
I didn't catch that.
I
You
missed
caught
that.
I was like, that's so fucking cool. Hopefully I can grab a screenshot of it and it comes through. But I was like, holy shit. But it was like so like light that it would be easy to miss if you weren't expecting it.
Yeah.
Oh.
So like I could
I
see
wonder if it was
someone.
even intentional.
Well, I was like, I
I
wonder
wonder if the actual laser just lit it up.
I wonder if people knew what that was supposed to imply at the time.
Probably not.
Because like, right.
Well, and I feel like we're burying the lead a little bit, but the whole, like for me, to think about it as a Disney production, I'm like, oh my gosh, this guy, this megalomaniac who is the ship's captain, leader, whatever you want to call him, a good old, what's his face, Hans Reinhardt.
Yep.
Like basically says he's extending the lives of these people, but basically is like lobotomizing them,
Yeah.
which is like, that is dark shit,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It was one of those things where, how is this a Disney film?
Yeah,
There's
well,
something
it was
dark.
new territory for them.
Yeah.
Let's should we do a quick synopsis of the plot points?
I dare you.
Okay, we've got the crew of the Palomino, which is I don't I didn't retain most character names.
So what was
There was
Tony Perkins is Durant,
Goodrich,
right?
Goodrich. No, there was Charlie. There was Vincent.
Yeah.
Alex.
There was
Alex. Who the fuck's Alex?
that's the doctor, the I called him the creepy fanboy who is like, I want to stay on the ship,
Yeah.
and then
Perkins.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Tony Perkins.
Perkins. Oh, see, I'm on a first name basis with all these folks.
ESP.
Yeah.
Kate.
Oh,
Kate.
okay. And there was
Fat,
Hamburglar. What's the guy?
Fat Burt Reynolds.
Fat Burt Reynolds.
What you call him? Hamburglar?
I called him Hamburglar.
Borgnine.
Borgnine. Yeah, that's what.
Harry.
Charlie. I said that already.
You did.
Bob? Was that the actual robot's name?
Bob's the
Battery operated boyfriend?
Bob's the distressed robot.
Yeah.
From Houston, we find out, right? He was programmed in Houston.
That's right.
The whole
That's right.
comment. Vincent was
that's
having a
right.
conversation,
That's
and he's
right.
like, "Oh, you're one of the old model, blah blah blah." And then he's like, "Weren't you programmed in Houston?" I was born in Houston. You know, so I don't know.
Voiced by none other than Slim Pickens.
Oh,
Yep.
it's funny.
I don't really know who that is. So
Those two voices didn't actually. I looked in the credits, and
Yeah,
they
they're not
basically
credited,
only
I
had.
think.
Yeah, I was surprised at that they only had the live actors, so to speak, that were listed with their, names.
Yeah,
and-
I guess that was buried. I don't know why they didn't tell people, but Slim Pickens is Bob and Roddy McDowell was Vincent.
Oh, okay.
I liked Bob's eye.
Bob.
Boom. His eye, how they're like slanted. It makes no fucking sense.
Sounds racist.
It's so like one eye is like lower
So we
than the
got the-
other. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Palomino crew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're an
Yeah.
exposition. They're exploratory. They're just
Yeah,
on a mission
they're
of
just out.
Oh, they're
It
looking
wasn't-
for habitable planets. I think.
No, I thought. No,
They
man, I
said that
don't
was the
remember.
mission of the Cygnus, same as ours.
Gotcha.
Oh,
You're right. You're right.
call.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
And then they're like, "What the fuck is this? Is that a black hole? What's going on?" And then
Yep.
yeah.
they throw a lot of jargon at you, that's what it felt like to me. Like I don't know what's supposed to be going
my
on.
favorite part though was when they inform you that Lady has ESP powers by being like, contact the robot with your ESP, and she's like, okay.
I got through to Vincent. He said there are old pilots and there are bold pilots, but there are very few old, bold pilots.
You're right. She always.
That is so wild. That's such a wild.
She always looks like she's gonna start crying through the entire movie.
She looks like she just got finished being slapped repeatedly.
She's also flush
That's
for
what
a lot
I'm
of
saying.
it. Yeah,
She just
Yeah.
looks like someone went off on her with their hands
they probably did.
and then said, okay, go ahead.
This is a
act
James
normal.
Cameron film, right?
Jeez.
Act normal. And she said,
Telepathy with a robot really got me. Like, how has nobody done that before or since?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, maybe they did before, but
I wrote as soon as I was like, forgot about the ESP, that whole thing. So I don't. Yeah, that was strange. Like they never really explained any of that. Like how she's the only one that can.
that's
Or
fine.
contact
I didn't need an
with-
explanation.
Right,
I mean, it's
but-
also the only reason to have a girl on board, apparently.
There's
her
so much
vagina
great-
makes her be able to hear robot sounds.
It's also great because then she has fewer lines. I
But
guess.
I also like that the only person that can communicate with her ESP wise is Vincent.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Anyway, no problem there.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they happen upon a black hole, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then, oh my god, is that a ship? Mm-hmm. And then they run their ID software, which is great. I kind of love that.
Yeah.
It's
I
like-
didn't remember that at all, where it was like, let's match it up to the shapes of
Yeah,
all
yeah,
the
yeah.
other ships.
And well, I don't want to take us off too far, but remind me, the way they did that hologram is really fascinating
Oh, okay.
to me personally.
Oh,
Okay,
I was
Jesus Christ, we're 10 minutes in. And they're like, "Oh fuck, it's the Cygnus. That was my dad's ship."
Yeah, that was. Oh,
they're like, let's get down with the Sigmas. Whatever it is.
Cygnus,
Cygnus.
which is named after the first black hole ever discovered.
So the ship is
Oh.
named after the first black hole.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
or the system in which
Where'd you get that? IMDb trivia?
everybody loved to. Every source that I looked at loved to include that. Yeah.
Amazing.
Because originally in the script it was called like the Centaur or some shit like that, and they're like, you know what? Let's
You know what? I have an idea. Let's do something else.
I know the movie's already called The Black Hole, and a black hole is always in the background, but let's make another reference to a black hole. Also, Palomino translates to black hole in Old Spanish.
Are you being serious?
No,
Not at all. Maybe it means white hole, which is fine. Yeah.
It just means my friend.
Palomino?
Palomino.
Are you being serious?
No. Okay, so it turns out, the Cygnus was thought lost because it's been 20 years since anybody's heard from them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been recalled and everything. They sent a message. Sorry, don't mean to step on
No, please.
How dare you? We never do
I
that.
don't need I love monologuing. Okay, so they go aboard. They're greeted.
Sorry to interrupt, but you're doing great.
Perfect. I did love it when it suddenly lights up.
Yeah.
That shit was creepy. They did good with that.
It was good.
With the creepy
and overall,
shit
it grew on me. Like, it's an awkward ass ship.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
But the look of it really grew on me. I'm like, it's kind of great.
There's
it's
so much about this movie that was had some weird ass shit that was very cool.
Yeah.
We were about halfway through and I was like, this is wild. This shit is wild.
They go aboard. They don't find anybody but robots. Their handguns are shot out of their hands.
Right. By some mysterious
thing. Just a thing.
I'm like, why didn't they use that later when everybody was running around and... Oh, okay, sorry. Plot hole.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
They make their way to the bridge or whatever, the central tower, and they just see all these figures at these consoles. The control room, that control room is just amazing.
That was
I
awesome.
loved it. Yeah.
And it's got tiers.
I love that they're all just
Yeah, I know. If you in the background, they're just Oh, and maybe that's when we meet Maximilian first. Huh?
Yeah, because they're like, no one's here. And he's like, one person is here.
No, not that Maximilian.
Oh, wait. The robot.
Yeah.
That's right. The robot comes up and sees Vincent and does this. And Vincent's like, hey, man.
That's right. I love how they square off.
He's like, I can do it too.
He's like, call him off.
And then they're like, it's only robots here. And then Reinhard Schmaltz says,
yep.
And I am watching you all, or whatever his accent
Perfect
was.
Austrian accent.
I know.
This is the story to end all stories, Harry. A ship of robots and computers with this thing in charge?
Not quite, Dr. Durant. Maximilian and my robots only run this ship the way I wish it run.
And then his full head of pubes on his chin comes out and says, I'm totally normal.
He says,
and you can trust me.
Welcome.
Well, can I just, because we mentioned Maximilian finally, that can I say that Maximilian has the best side eye without having any eyes? Like, shit will happen and it'd be like, the ship is bouncing and he's like, does
that's
this
a good,
side always.
point. Excellent point.
I'm always like, he's like, what the fuck, dude? I mean, every time, that's what I hear every time. He makes that look. But, yeah, I wrote King of Side-Eye.
Yeah.
Totally.
So, yeah.
The robot Maximilian was named in the script before Shell was cast as Reinhard. Yes. However, they did change the spelling to reflect the spelling of his name. Oh. Which is one L.
Whose name?
Maximilian Schell. The actor plays Reinhardt.
Reinhard Schmaltz. Okay.
Hans Reinhold Schmaltz.
Yeah.
And the reason the robot was named Maximilian was it's one of the middle names of Werner von Braun, whom I guess Reinhardt is based upon
for
some reason.
Well, there's that whole, when he's like, join me for dinner, and he's wearing that whole, he's got the little, looks like the German shirt with the what is that called? That's not the Victoria Cross or whatever. No, I can't
IMDb called it the Order of Canada.
What?
But I couldn't tell what it was on it. So
those Canadians always trying to claim stuff.
True.
Maple syrup. Come on.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Leave the Nazi shit to us.
That's. Jeez. Yeah, it was that. I don't remember seeing that at all. But I was just like, he looks like he's some kind of Austrian, German, something or other. And I was like, okay, that makes
kind of Kaiser Wilhelm era, not Third Reich, but Second. for those following along at home, I guess.
Sure.
Anyway, and he's like, oh, yeah, I just been kicking it out here studying the black hole. I figured out anti-gravity or whatever, a way to keep
The amount of times that they're like gravity, anti-gravity, and I don't know what they're referencing.
Oh,
they didn't either.
Well, they kind of referenced it a little bit when the Palomino was kind of surveying the ship.
Zero
and then
gravity.
All of a sudden, they actually got to a point at which they got pulled in by the event horizon.
Yeah.
So they were being tugged in, and then it was like they had to get themselves to pull back into that
zero
force
gravity
field, they called it,
right.
or something, where it's where it doesn't have the forces of the black hole on it. But
Magic. I mean science.
Yeah.
I mean, he did kind of do that whole, when they look at the power, this power tower or whatever the hell that is, where they're looking down, where it was like, this could power the whole world or something.
Right.
I can't remember. It was some astronomical number for like a whole year or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. But you're just like, oh gosh, how much power is being used to make this happen?
I mean, it seems
that
to be...
thing looked like when BMO goes to the factory and looks down at all the BMOs.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and spoiler, it turns out he didn't actually send the whole crew home.
Yeah.
They didn't just die in space on their way home to Earth or whatever. He's trying to... They figure out that not the Centurions,
right,
I guess, but like the drones with the reflective masks are the former crew that he's cyborged or lobotomized or whatever. That's kind of great because there's no reason like that. What I liked about that is it just makes him a bad guy. It doesn't really affect the... I don't know. It's not a huge plot point as far as like...
Right. But I think, doesn't it kind of lend itself to this whole, he's so into whatever he's into, and by that I mean Hans, Mr. Reinhardt, is so
if you're nasty.
into is so into having people just comply to whatever he says that he will go to any lengths to make sure that his goals are accomplished, no matter what, and lobotomizes his entire crew, and then
you do.
It's so funny. Well, anyway, I was just thinking about how that is the thing that backfires on him, is that he gets people, or he gets the robots that will follow his order to the T, so that when he tells Maximilian, go and prepare the pod or whatever, that ship.
the probe ship.
Even after he gives new commands, Maximilian is so focused on finishing whatever he's doing that he fails to assist. I don't know. Anyway, it just...
No, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like when Maximilian just goes ape shit on...
Oh.
Durant. Isn't that his name?
I don't know who
Alex, creepy fanboy.
Yeah.
Well, and then even Maximilian... sorry.
Let me just get us to the point of like...
Yeah.
Reinhardt is obsessed with the black hole. He thinks he's figured out a way to safely traverse it. Go into it, come out the other side. He doesn't know that he's going to come out the other side, but he's in it to win it. So I love the idea that, like, if the Palomino hadn't shown up, like, where would there be a record of this? I guess he doesn't really care about that so much as just doing it.
He does say something about that where he's just like, he's like, I'm not here to be recognized or whatever. He just wants to do it. So maybe.
Oh, what's that line that he says about how much smarter he is than everyone else or something?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, I want to be recognized for how much better I am than everyone else or something. Oh my God.
Something about everybody else's flaws. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll drop it in.
You will be remembered as one of the greatest space scientists of all time. I've never doubted that. It's about time that people learn about their failures and my successes.
Thanks, girl.
Okay, so and then we'll get to the details of the ending, but they try to... The Palomino, they go back and forth between trying to stop him and trying to escape. And eventually everybody goes through the black hole.
Yes.
And then...
Well, what about Ernest Borgnine getting killed? Come on.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
That shit was
Loved it.
hilarious.
You thought he was just kind of that chummy guy. And actually, this is just me guessing, but you know how they all had their weird pins on?
Yes.
So all the Palomino people had these pins, but Ernest Borgnine actually had his look. It looked like he had a priest collar, but where the pin was, and I was like, okay. Well, I don't know if that was intentional, but I kept thinking about like, oh, he's this, he's the truth teller, he's the whatever, and then he's the one that is just like, they're trying to escape and save people, and he ends up falling and then saying like, oh, my leg, I broke my leg, and they're like, can you make it back to the ship? And he's like, yes, and then he just decides to go ahead and take the Palomino all by himself, and then gets shot out of the sky. So
hilarious, yeah.
And that is the end of the
The
movie.
end.
The end.
Oh. And then surprise meteor shower.
Right.
Fucking
right.
meteor shower.
Well, and it's funny, the two things that I was worried about being too long,
not at all.
The pod chase or whatever, which they're going through that tunnel.
Yeah.
That was what I thought might be too long, but it was during the meteor shower, so
Oh, okay.
Because they're in there and you see all the meteors going over, and they're in the little thing.
Is that when they're doing the
up and down all around the tube?
Yeah.
And then that was the part too where it looks like that gets broken off, and it's like, isn't that space right there?
Yeah, right.
So I was like, oh, but
that was when they built a rotating chamber for that. With the camera in the middle, and then it rotated around the sled.
No, okay.
What about the you said remind you to tell about the hologram thingy?
Thank you. The holographic display on the Palomino. The actors couldn't see it, but it was done in camera. In that they put a piece of glass in front of the camera and then projected onto it. I don't know how they did that without you seeing the reflection from anyway, but
oh wow.
I don't know if it's projected from behind the camera or how they do it, or if it's behind it, but
wow.
But the actors aren't seeing
Ghost
it.
Kind of thing? Huh? Like a Pepper's Ghost kind of thing?
I don't know what that means.
Oh. So Pepper's Ghost is this
Who's Pepper?
It's supposedly like a technique that they use for creating ghosts, where it's like you're in a room with glass, and I'm pointing like as if the audience members can hear this or can see this, but there's a plate of glass, and I'm going to screw this up, but you'll get the idea. So above and below the person, at least this is how they do it in Haunted Mansion, is that they'll have things behind you that are lit up, and it's so the reflection, you don't see the glass, but you see the reflection of the thing that's behind you showing up, and then it looks like a ghost that's showing up out of everything.
I mean, that sounds like the same thing.
So, but that's what that sounded like, so I'm not sure. Yeah. So somebody Google Pepper's Ghost and tweet at us.
Or Pepper's Ghost, if you're available.
Yeah. Pepper,
we'd love to
are
hear from
you
you.
still a ghost?
Okay, so I'm satisfied with that plot synopsis.
Yes.
Good. Well, that's the episode.
Okay, good night.
All right. Okay. Wait, no, the one thing that I did, I wanted, when they are first exploring, sorry, I have a few notes. Can I? No.
Please, take it away.
So there was a few things that I was just like, of course, fortunately, it came only from Hans Reinhardt, he uses the phrase, it's kind of a Mexican standoff.
Oh, yeah.
And then talked about Columbus, and I was like, oh, that did not age well.
I think at one point Vincent says, if there's enough sunshine, there's a desert, according to the Arabs.
Oh, what? I must have missed that.
I didn't understand what he said. I just heard him say Arabs, and I was like, uh-oh.
Vincent. I was hoping that the bad guy was the one that was going to be saying, questionable things.
It didn't sound like, it didn't seem racist to me.
Remember what they say, all work and no play?
All sunshine makes a desert, so the Arabs say.
It was I just couldn't get over the fact that anytime Charlie said something, Vincent was like, idiom. That's all he would do in response. And then Charlie would be like, blah, blah, blah. And he'd be like, idiom. Like, that's it. And I was like, is that all Vincent's
A penny's worth of philosophy.
Yes.
Like, is that all Vincent's programmed to do? And it seemed,
educate you.
Right. It seemed like Vincent evolved enough to just want to piss Charlie off. And that was part of his innate need.
Truly evolved to humanity, which is to piss other people off.
Don't worry, Mr. Pizer. They also serve who only stand and wait.
Vincent, were you programmed to bug me?
No, sir, to educate you.
When I volunteered for this mission, I never thought I'd end up playing straight man to a tin can.
Something information necessary. Vincent is presumably an acronym.
Right. I did not record that.
Yeah.
Very awkward and ridiculous.
There's one thing I was thinking about when the Palomino was flying over the ship before the lights came on. Mm-hmm. And they're like, turn on the microbeam. And I'm like, you mean the spotlight? The spotlight. You're turning on the spotlight.
I said the exact same thing.
Turn on the
you
microbeam.
mean the fucking headlights?
Yes, exactly. And they're just...
the microbeam.
Yeah, the microbeam.
I said macro beam, right? Because if you think about like high beams or low beams, sometimes that's all. But I'm like, calling it a micro beam doesn't make any sense.
Agreed.
I am smart.
Ooh.
I'm just kidding.
A regular Hans Reinhardt over here.
Oh, yeah, so... oh, no. I was thinking about there's anyway. When we get to the credits, remind me. There's a few things that I noticed that I was like, "This is interesting."
Okay,
and then it will be really boring, and everybody will be mad at me. Yeah, but it's funny that they keep mentioning things like they're like Dante's Inferno, and I can't say that I know exactly any of the references that they were trying to make, but it kind of made sense when you get to the end of the movie.
Yeah, right.
Are we ready to like say was that kind of did you want to talk about the meteor shower or no? Or that like
yeah, well, the way they made it was very interesting. What? You got Vincent?
Vital information necessary centralized. So the cent is
one.
Oh, yeah. So it's Vincent.
No,
yeah,
very, very
doesn't make any sense.
Oh,
and Bob is bio-originated.
Biosanitation battalion.
Okay, sure. That's
That
Where's
makes
the O?
Oh, yeah.
Come on, guys.
Yep.
Oh,
try harder.
It makes no sense.
But
okay, how about the black robot Captain Star? And Star is an acronym.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, right. Maybe they said that, but talk about that was man.
Shout out to
like he was the original
Special Troops Arms Regiment.
Okay.
Yes.
That's the least awkward one of.
It's like it's one of those things where it's like in The Office when Creed is like,
yeah, right.
What's this?
Body.
Yeah. What's this stand for? They were like, let's name this guy. Let's name him Star. Okay, what's something that we can come up with? And then the first thing anybody thought
that
of
played that though was a mime. So Tommy McLaughlin.
What,
as
Star?
Star.
Oh,
and he stood out immediately because when you first see
he's
the
a regular
Centurions
Art
or
the
whatever,
Clown.
they're very awkward. Very obviously, as you said, are they robots or are they is your suit really uncomfortable?
Right. Does your suit
but
not
he's
move?
like very precise. I loved his little.
The shooting was hilariously weird.
I hated it until
Vincent
fucking
challenged him. Yeah,
demolished him.
He's like, watch
I love
this.
He's like just about to bump him, and then Vincent's just like, just body
like,
checks
try
him.
this.
Beep, 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 beep,
and shoots him.
Yes,
it's a baller move.
Oh yeah,
that's the most I respect Vincent at any point in the movie.
Yeah, because it like ricochets and then hits him, and he's like, looks like somebody's gonna have. I don't know. I'm gonna do my own interpretation. Looks like somebody's gonna be about to have a bad day or something, and then he's like, and then
does he even explode?
No, but I mean, it's like smoke starts pouring out of him after.
He just goes
but there is kind of a pop. I thought.
I think so.
Gets one right in the Tony Stark.
Yeah. But I was thinking about how there's that whole Maximilian takes them to get parts for the Palomino, and then of course it's like Maximilian is kind of never says anything, but just kind of does that stare down at Bob, and Bob's just like trembling.
Oh, that's right. Bob never doesn't say anything then either.
No, but I mean, it was like there was this whole power dynamic thing going on there.
For sure.
It was creepy. I don't know. I think Maximilian is probably one of the creepiest.
It looked like a Cylon to me.
Yeah, I agree.
Specifically
even though they
from the
apparently
old
did
school.
a lot of. That was one of the things they tried to avoid, like the other robots, the red guys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because it was very hot in those suits and limited visibility, they tried to give them O2 tanks for the actors in the. But they said that made them look too much like Cylons because the Cylons have like a on the back.
Yeah. That's crazy.
So then they just let them suffer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They were like, it's more important not to get accused of copying.
Yeah.
Gosh. So during that whole, I don't know, like I'm thinking about towards the end of the whole thing where
it's freeform from here on out.
Okay, I know. I've listened to this so much.
I was going to say, I don't know if you've ever heard.
I know, but
Hey, we're talking about the movie more than we have in probably like 6 months.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I know, but it's just and I was so worried that you would absolutely just be like, why did you even do that? Because actually, when you reviewed, I guess, Time Bandits, I was like, but I love that show. And then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, I bet you if I watched it again, unchild, I would probably have a definite different viewpoint of the whole thing, because I keep thinking of it as a childhood favorite, but so maybe I'll just keep it that way and not watch. So but there's the meteor shower. Reinhardt is like now's the time. I have to launch out into.
It's now or never.
I need to do it now because of course I think. Was that what caused it with them running away and then the meteor shower? He was just like, it's all falling apart, maybe?
I think so.
I don't know. I couldn't figure out what was the thing that he was just like, okay, now is the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the meteor storm because it wrecked the ship or it started, which is, again, as far as sci-fi goes, you've never encountered any debris in space before?
Yeah.
Next to a black hole that's seemingly sucking
pulling things
everything.
in. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But the way they did the meteor shower, I was surprised because it kept making me think of like gel or like a lava lamp kind of look.
Yeah.
It's wadded up balls of paper.
I believe
Shut
it.
up. Really?
They put red gels on the light and then they just dropped them at the camera. The camera's pointed up.
Oh, no way.
And then they composited it.
That's insane.
Isn't that amazing? The one that rolls down the ship, of course, is a different.
Yeah, I believe that.
Right.
That was a whole set piece, apparently.
And you couldn't even see Indiana Jones in that.
I know.
Yeah.
Shot.
Yeah.
So tiny.
Yes, so very tiny. But this is that point where I mentioned earlier that Reinhardt's just like, gotta go now.
Yep.
We're doing this. And then he's like, Maximilian, go ahead and... Because the whole control area is falling apart.
Right.
People are falling from the whatever the ledges, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And he says, Maximilian, prepare the ship. And then, like, as Maximilian's going to the elevator, the big, huge, I mean, this is a huge flat screen, like, just lands on top of Reinhardt. And then he's like, Maximilian. And Maximilian's just keeps going, goes into the thing, and he's just like,
I have my orders.
And he's just like, help me. And of course, he's trying to reach out to all of his robot lobotomized crew, and they're just like, oh, I don't, whatever. You told us to keep working on here, and so that's what we're doing. And then it's so, it's kind of he's getting what he deserves. But then,
it's great. It's a great moment
because the Palomino is shot down. They decide that they're going to use the probe. The Palomino crew decides that they're going to use the probe to get out. And then, of course, they realize that it's been pre-programmed to go into the black hole. So that
that was
they're
kind of
both
great.
like,
Yeah.
That was kinda, I didn't see that coming. For whatever
Honestly,
reason,
I was like, is that just how it's going to end? But they're like, well, we're about to go into the black hole. And then I was like, what? And then it just does whatever else it does instead. I was like, this movie's nuts.
Well, let me tell you, you get to like the zoom in of her eyeball or whatever, and the stretching of her face.
Yes.
And then the weird
spaghettification. Oh, sorry.
The stop motion, them rotating or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Maximilian and
wait.
I'm
please.
so sorry.
I'm just saying when we see the inside the probe ship or whatever.
Oh, right. Yeah.
That's the beginning of that sequence of the wild ass.
Yeah.
Everybody's going through the worm or black hole, and I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be bad. And then Maximilian floating out in space,
and Reinhardt.
Yeah, sorry, I meant Reinhardt.
That's what I'm saying.
And all his fucking hair.
Yeah,
where'd that hair come from?
I know, right?
So much hair, and then he and Reinhardt and Maximilian get married.
Well, that was odd.
Kiss.
They're just like
I
they
love
kind
that
of like
so
they
much.
circle and then they kind of hold on
Embrace.
to each other,
and then they're one.
That was the gayest.
And as people pointed out,
yeah,
Maximilian's shell ended up in Maximilian's shell.
Oh.
Oh my god.
There's the real secret message.
Well, and then all of a sudden it's like Maximilian is floating at the top, is at the top of this mountain surrounded by flames and
his robot
but
army.
instead of his regular Cylon viewpoint, it's the two eyes of what Hans Reinhardt poking through, and so they've become one.
That was amazing.
But that was the part that I'm just like, okay, maybe there's more things you can point out, but I'm just like, this is a Disney movie where the crew gets lobotomized in a creepy way, and then the main villain ends up in hell.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's...
Right.
I wanted to ask both of you, what do you think... So they pull it back, and it's kind of like as if it's different levels. Yeah. But there's like I want to say like a crew, not a crew. And I was like, don't tell me that was the lobotomized crew.
Yeah.
But then they're all skulls. So I was like,
oh, are they?
Oh, is it?
So
I thought it was
the crew, and I was like, that fucking sucks. Right. That's not how that's supposed to be. But who said life is fair? Right. But that was, you interpreted that as the crew?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Because I wasn't sure, because if when the light shines on their little thing, you see their faces. So I wasn't sure if yeah. I don't know.
Well, what I liked about it, I didn't like it for the reasons that I'm assuming you didn't, of like, why did they go to hell?
Yeah.
Right.
But I like it, and then you have all the fire.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, or plausible deniability. This is the wreckage of the sickness.
Yeah, that's what I wasn't sure about it. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
And they also somehow survived.
Yeah.
Like Palpatine.
Yeah.
They're just on some.
Yeah.
It's a demon planet or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Demon class.
Yes.
And you could also argue that
Same
that's
with that
how
cathedral doorway that goes on.
Well, you could.
Just kidding.
What was the angel thing?
I know.
Like that. Okay. Anyway,
I was like, what?
That's
the
why I was
weakest
like,
part.
they were trying to do this heaven and hell thing.
That's what
I thought that's
absolutely
what they were doing.
No, absolutely.
I thought that I was like, if the fucking probe crew ends up in heaven, I'm gonna hate this. But then it didn't. So I was like,
no, they end up in a little cathedral where you have a stained glass window that has the crescent and star from Islam, the yin yang from Taoism, the cross for Christianity, and the Star of David.
And it says
and the spaghetti for the spaghetti monster.
Yes.
And it says coexist.
That's right.
Yeah, that was where they were going. You don't know, but the whole cathedral thing.
Their little,
no. Sorry, the Gothic arch,
Yeah.
and then kind of the mirrored thing.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, it looked cool.
The angel thing, though.
Yeah, that was
the only
weird.
thing I was like, okay.
I thought that was going to be her.
This is apparently one of the interpretations
Yeah.
is that it's Kate's psychic projection leading the way to wherever.
Oh, I see. Out the black hole poop chute?
Yeah.
Okay.
But, okay, this is something
And
that...
towards the xenomorph egg.
Yep.
Yes.
Something I hadn't thought of until just now, like how...
Except it's got too much hair. To be.
Yeah, but Reinhold Schmaltz has longer
I guess
hair,
accelerated
so
hair growth is a symptom of
black hole.
spaghettification.
So, okay, so this is something... So, the crew, I assumed it was the crew that was there, but then Maximilian
the
has...
lobotomized Cygnus crew?
Is,
Yeah, okay.
But then it has Maximilian and Reinhardt together, and I was like, oh, is this signifying that he and Maximilian had to merge in order for both of them to survive? Because Maximilian gets all blah, 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 and then
that's right.
So I'm like,
he gets his desserts. He gets his he gets.
So I was like, oh, is it essentially saying he getting
got drilled by Vincent?
He's getting what he did to the crew. Like it's less of he's ruler in hell, and more like he's looking down on who he now is. Like he's seeing the vision of who he is based on, I don't know.
Who he is.
Yeah, because he because the crew is robot / crew human.
Okay.
So if Reinhardt and Maximilian did that, merged to survive, and he's just like a shell, and the eyes are sort of letting you know that it's neither one or the other, but both, then he's looking down at the crew, and he's seeing, because the way he's presented, he doesn't seem like I've won. He seems more terrified or horrified, kind of.
Right.
So he might be looking at
all we get is those eyes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, could it be like that's his version of hell being stuck up at this top point, and then the rest of his crew, or whatever the crew, is able to just do whatever they want? Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's just seeing it's less of he's looking down on them and more he's looking out at what his future is, basically. So I don't know. That's just a way. But it's also I doubt anybody really thought about it that much. They were probably
in
this
fact,
would be cool looking.
In fact, they did not have an ending. First of all, the script originated in 1974 when they started writing a disaster style film.
Hot.
You mentioned Tower Inferno.
Mm-hmm.
Because
those
were the rage.
And the Poseidon, what is it?
Poseidon Adventure.
Yeah.
Which Borgnine is in.
Yeah.
He might be in Inferno. I just don't remember.
Right. I'll look.
But they were all the rage in the mid-'70s, late 70s.
Earthquake.
Yeah. All those. So it started out just to be a run-of-the-mill one of those, and it stalled several times because they were like, oh, I don't know, just hemming and hawing or whatever. And then Star Wars happened, and they're like, oh, shit, we got this. It eventually was like, we're going to do a disaster-style film in space. And then Star Wars happened, and they're like, oh, okay. And every rewrite just kept emphasizing the black hole more. It was like every screenwriter just amped it up more. And so that's how it ended up being.
So in my entirely disorganized notes...
Whole point, sorry, my fault. The script didn't have an ending, and they kept putting it off. It started production, they started shooting, and one of the things was they intentionally they were going to shoot chronologically, more or less, partly because they didn't have the ending. And they said, well, when somebody dies, then they don't have to come back. They can just be done.
Oh my God.
Well, I forgot in my wildly disorganized notes, there was a moment where I can't remember which character it was from the Palomino ship that was leaving the control room, and Reinhardt was just kind of off to the side. He's like, protect me from Maximilian.
Yes.
And I forgot. I totally, and I saw that, and I'm like, oh. But that was, what, I didn't know how to interpret that.
Same. I was like, what does that mean?
It's to Kate, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Okay. Because,
Also,
you know why? He ad-libbed that. I don't know why the fuck they kept it in there. I hate it. It totally undermines everything. And
that's so
isn't
fucking
followed
hilarious.
up upon.
For real.
For real.
He just was like,
Yep.
protect me. Well,
that's hilarious.
Or was that supposed to be like, did they keep it in because it's some kind of weak foreshadowing of like,
yeah,
it was his own.
I guess they kept it because it isn't. You don't know if he's just trying to run a game on Kate, like to play the victim, or if he's actually afraid, or just meant to show that he's not altogether.
Right.
Okay, I have
but
to.
I hated it.
I have to interrupt. I looked up Towering Inferno.
Yeah.
Because Ernest Borgnine is not in it.
What?
So I
Not in
he is
Inferno?
Yeah, he is in Poseidon Adventures, but
Okay.
not in Towering Inferno.
Okay. Okay.
But do you know who is in Towering Inferno?
My mom.
Oh shit!
Just kidding.
Your mom is a Towering Inferno. I bet.
Yes.
Wild guess.
Well, it's
Eric
a huge
Stoltz.
crew. It's a.
It was 11.
Richard Dreyfuss.
Are you talking about like starring or
No.
period?
Yeah.
Brad Dourif.
Girl, no. O.J. Simpson.
Oh,
What?
That's not weird.
That's.
I thought it was a little weird.
Thank you. Thank you.
Why?
Yeah. Well,
I
see,
don't know.
there was a
'Cause
scene
one,
where
he
he was trying
died,
to get
and
to
two-
his.
What?
What?
O.J. Simpson's dead.
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah, exactly.
Not in the 1970s when that
I
film
know.
was made.
I know.
What
Because
is
I
going
didn't
on?
know he was in movies other than.
He was in the fucking Naked Gun movies.
I didn't remember. God, you're such a bitch sometimes, and like in the worst
goodness.
way. Like the worst way.
He did commercials too.
He was also a football star.
Also, he did a murder. He
Exactly.
did all kinds of shit.
Exactly.
Oh.
That's the part. That's the part.
Lots of murderers are in movies.
Oh,
That's
boy.
Christopher
unfortunately
Walken.
true. Yeah. God, please insert the audio from my
No teams.
favorite TikTok ever.
Mom, did you used to date Robert Wagner?
No. I just...
Should we take the picture off the wall?
Why?
Because he's a murderer.
Oh, really?
I think he killed Natalie Wood.
I don't think... I think it was an accident. I think she got... Oh, well.
Wasn't he on the boat with Robert Redford?
No, it was with Christopher Walken. Oh, God damn you.
That's real.
I know.
That wasn't even a sound
Are
effect.
you sure you don't want any cheese with that, baby?
No cheese, Mommy. Did you just hear my butthole?
I did.
Thank you.
What?
Oh yeah, Natalie Wood. Christopher Walken and Robert Wagner.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
There's so many more. That guy from April Fools.
Oh, that's right. No, he just died.
Wait, he didn't kill people too? I thought he died other people.
Talking about Ryan O'Neal's son.
Yeah. I don't know who I'm talking about.
But speaking of Ryan O'Neal, Jennifer O'Neal was originally cast as Kate.
Oh.
But she was such a bitch.
She was a model turned actor. She was very nervous. So the reason for the Dr. Pulaski style haircut is because for the zero gravity scenes, long hair wouldn't look right. So
that makes so much sense.
yeah, and apparently I was like, they must have built like a rotating set for the Palomino shots where they're doing, it's all wire work.
Oh, I could tell. I could 100% tell. No offense.
Okay, that's fine. I didn't necessarily think that there wasn't wires involved. I just thought,
No, I know. I'm just saying that's...
asshole.
Hey, you just said O.J. Simpson? Blah, 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 blah. And that's a direct
is
quote.
Dead on.
No, I know.
And I stand by that. Tell me I'm wrong. Fuck.
If I could fart right now...
But this is,
I would.
of course, before digital, that's how they do away with wires now as digital erasure. Yeah. They had to paint them the same color as the set. But apparently this is ingenious to me. One of the things they did was shoot it upside down. I don't know what that means exactly. I guess
the camera was upside down?
No, I think the set would be upside down because the point would be is that the wires would be coming from the bottom of the frame up to the actor. In the idea that you would be looking for them to go towards the
Wow.
top of the frame.
Wow.
I mean, practical effects.
Right?
There's sometimes where it just, well, there you go. You hear it in my voice right there. But, like, who was just like, this will be totally convincing. Like, how do you test, you test that to...
you film it and then you look at the dailies.
I know, but you couldn't look at them yourself and not see that. But if you don't know,
sometimes it's like,
especially in the era of film, it's not.
Well, the wild fucking thing is like someone will be like, well, what we did was we rigged 3 mirrors and then we hung a cow upside down and then we painted the cow yellow and then we
what that did is it absorbed all the blue light in the room.
And then we had to digitally erase all the cow sounds because we don't have a cow in this scene. So, and you're like, what the fucking shit? And
you just had to have another cow on the other side to noise cancel, phase cancel the...
Right.
And it's just like...
we had a cow and an anti-cow.
But it's always like...
No, it's wild.
What the fuck? How do you think of this shit?
It's insane.
And it's like... People will be like, right, that makes sense. I'm like, it makes sense to you? You just heard what this person said and you understood it?
Yeah, right.
They're like, so geometry works by taking your feet and putting them on the ceiling. And you're like, what? And people are like, I thought about that, but I wasn't sure if it could be done. I'm like, what? What? I just feel it's like nothing makes me...
said that.
And nothing makes me feel more fucking stupid than hearing how someone figured out how to do something. I'm like, right. I don't, you realize you're like, oh, I don't know how to do shit.
Right. Another thing, one of the things that makes episode 4, A New Hope, look the way it does and so good is they had created, because it was the first time Industrial Light and Magic, right, which became the standard for video VFX because of Star Wars, basically. They had a camera system they had invented called the Dykstra Flex or something like that.
Oh, the Dyke sister of Flex.
Named after a guy. But it was basically just a computer-controlled camera that would scan like a matte painting. And so that meant, I don't really get it. But it was an elaborate system, first of its kind. It made space scenes look more convincing, I guess. Okay. Disney Films asked if they could use it for the black hole. And nobody said this, but I'm assuming like they were like, yeah, it was basically cost prohibitive to do it. I just assume ILM was like, yeah, okay, sure, give us $1 million or whatever. You know what I mean? Like purposely being like, fuck you, Disney. Like so they made their own.
Disney owns
Disney owns ILM,
They're like, all this
Nailed
time.
it.
They're like, we waited so long to get this picture. You wouldn't just loan us your fucking camera.
Right.
No,
Long gone.
No, we own you.
Yeah. No, they created their own.
Yeah.
Huh.
What fucking morons. Yeah.
150 matte paintings for this movie.
That's it?
That's it. I don't know. I don't know what is a lot.
The most ever at that time.
Oh, okay.
Before that, the most for any Disney film was 80. And that was 20,000 Leagues.
Damn.
Right.
Which this film gets compared to a lot, apparently. Just
Really?
as an obsessive guy doing it. To me, I always go to Moby Dick. I'm like, that's just an Ahab. But I'm not really familiar with...
The white whale was a black hole, is what we're saying. Got it.
Full circle.
Boop. No.
Yes. Call me Reinhardt.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll call you Hans.
Oh, yeah.
Aw.
Call me Hans, right? Because okay. Yeah. Sorry about that.
Hey, better to sleep with a sober savage than a drunk Christian. That's a line from the beginning of Moby Dick.
Oh, okay.
When he meets Queequeg and they have to room together.
Aw.
I was waiting for you to be like, that was Vincent. Vincent said that. No.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like
he would. He
I would
fucking
prefer not to. Bartleby the Scrivener.
Anyone?
Yeah.
You got more?
No,
Look at your legal pad. Was that A4 or is that a?
No, this is
A24.
8.5 by 14.
Yes, A24. Exactly. Well, it's from
What is that there?
Office
is that yellow?
Depot.
Goldenrod?
It's yellow. It's canary.
Ooh.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't. Oh, well, there was one thing that I thought was interesting, which is not interesting, but I will say it anyway. Mm-hmm. Is that the special effects were from Hal Bigger, which I was like, really? That was the name. That must have been the production company or whatever, but it was like Hal, like HAL, like all caps, and then Bigger. So I just thought, again, the whole 2001 Space Odyssey thing. Anyway,
shout out to,
I told you it was going to be a terrible point, but, you'll let me do it anyway.
We forced you to do it.
UIUC again. Local celebrity Hal.
Fun fact, I've never seen that movie.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. But this barely makes it into the umbrella of the 80s and 90s, so I appreciate you doing that. But 2001, wasn't that late
69.
60? Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yeah, my dad won the Golden Glove.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. My dad.
I'm sure he loved 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I don't know if he's ever
That's
seen it.
That's another one that feels like it's a decade later than it is. Like I could see 2001 and Alien coming out the same year.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
yeah, that's crazy that it's... Because that's
episode 4.
Ed Harris, right?
2001?
Yeah.
Ed Harris? No.
No? Who is it? Wait.
Nobody you've heard of? 2001?
Yeah, sorry.
Maybe you're thinking of 2010? I don't
know.
No. Oh.
I'm just confused. Hold on. I'm just going to look
That's fine. Update, Ed Harris was not in 2001.
I just thought he was. Only because that's what the person I've only seen screenshots.
Yeah, that's
I've never
fair.
seen anything from him.
I see it.
Yeah, I just thought he was young, so I was like, oh, he looks a little different when he was so young. But
that guy, I don't know what that guy else did.
I don't know what that ever else guy did either.
Okay, I didn't finish about Jennifer O'Neill because
right,
she was originally cast as Kate. They were like, and they tried shooting, and dude was like, "Nuh-uh," with the hair. Need you to cut it. She was very reluctant, being a model who,
right.
For one thing, she did a lot of ads for like hair products.
Oops.
She finally agreed. She was like, "But I'm gonna go to my personal guy, Vidal Sassoon," and apparently she was having such a trouble with it that she drank while getting a haircut. Like they drink, like cut an inch at a time. She like had some more drink.
Oh no!
Anyway, she was plastered by the end of it. Drove home, got into an accident.
No.
She was fine, but could not do the movie, so they had to recast.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Wow.
Oh my
I'm
god!
not sure how I should feel about that.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Don't drink and drive, kids.
Yeah, for sure. The story of how Shell got cast is kind of interesting. First of all, the director Gary Nelson had mostly done television prior to this. Anyway, someone suggested Maximilian Schell to him. He flew to Austria to talk to him. And Schell was like, I don't know, man. You should probably, you should get is Jason Robards. I just watched this thing he's in called Washington Behind the Scenes or whatever. It's like a miniseries about U.S. presidents or something like that. And he's like, yeah, Stanley Kubrick just showed this to me. Have you seen it? And he's like, see it? I directed it. And Maximilian Schell said, I'll do your movie. And then he kissed him on the mouth.
Really?
Aw.
On the open mouth?
I don't know if it was open. That detail I don't have. All I know is that there was tongue involved.
But you don't know if that was on the mouth or rectum.
Damn near killed him.
Hey.
Thank you. I was hoping. I was like, someone do the right thing.
Oh, Harlan Ellison, famous for writing on the original series Star Trek.
Okay.
famous to me anyway, or noteworthy. I think he was a science fiction writer in his own right, but also worked on the original series.
Mm-hmm.
Was called in as a potential writer. They had a meeting where he pitched a pornographic animated film featuring Disney properties, Disney characters.
Amazing.
That must have gone over well.
Like Disney's son or something was at a nearby table and overheard this and was like, "No way, we're not hiring that fool."
Oh my God.
Presumably it was a joke. There's mixed reports about like if he was joking or if he was serious. Yes. I mean, if he was serious, how serious was it? You know what I mean? Like,
I hope he was.
I'm sure he wasn't expecting them
I
to
hope
be like,
he was purposely
okay.
trying to tank getting hired.
Right. Wow. I mean, trying to do anything with any Disney properties is just
Yeah, I think the only other one. There were several models of this Cygnus, of course, because one of them has to be destroyed, load up. They were 12 feet long, weighed almost 200 pounds, because made of brass.
Wow.
I don't know why. I guess just because it was sturdy enough and light, relatively light. But like then things about the Palomino, they did, what do they call it? Smash cocking or something? Model bashing, where they take parts from... Which is how they did a lot of Star Wars, I guess. Was the discarded plastic.
Oh, that's
of
how they
other
made
models.
the Borg ship.
Yeah, that's it. So, like like the door, the Palomino was actually off the model of a Mercury space capsule model or something. Whatever.
Wow.
Nice. Wow.
It kind of makes sense. That is the most awkward looking ship.
Which one?
The Palomino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It didn't look.
It
like
looks
it was
like an
very,
accident. Yeah.
Yeah, flight worthy. Yeah.
That's I think all I got. Those are my notes.
The only thing I cared about or wanted to mention was how when they bring Charlie on the bridge, he's like, goons.
Oh.
That's it. Goon. That's part of my job, gooning. So it's very important to my work. So I want to bring it up.
Shout out to the goons. The Goon Squad.
Goon Squad. That's what he says. He calls it the Goon Squad.
That's right.
Ah, Mr. Pizer. Come in. Join us.
Thank you. Have you met the Goon Squad?
Goon Squad. Nice.
How about the battle scene where all the Centurions or whatever are lined up on that bridge just to get shot?
Yes.
Oh my God.
We'll catch him in the crossfire.
Yeah, we'll do an
They're
indirect.
all
they're like
standing. No one is hidden, and they're like, oh. I'm like, how are you not hitting any of them? You all are stupid.
Well, they took that stormtrooper idea from Star Wars, and but that was unfortunate. So,
would you recommend this?
You asking me? Or the room?
I'm asking everyone involved.
If you've never seen it, like we had, absolutely. What a trip.
Go in blind, even though you just listened to the whole episode.
Yeah, that's right.
If you've gotten this far, no, don't watch it. Just kidding.
Right. I would, yes, mainly just because of what it means to me. Like as growing, as I said, like it was on a VHS.
You recommended it to us.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see that a lot of it held up. And I think even the special effects hold up. I mean, obviously you have to have some willing suspension of disbelief because at this point, CGI, etc., it's just hard. But there are some things where I'm like, how did they make... I was like, did Disney come back and like enhance these? Because I mean, when you were talking about the special hologram that they had that they were showing, I was like, there's no way they could have pulled that off at this point. And then when you said that, I'm like, oh yeah, now I can see how that could have worked. But I don't know. I was pleasantly surprised that I didn't feel like there were